A specific heaviness that only the chosen ones know. It is not merely the weight of the world, but the weight of a calling that has not yet birthed its promise. For years, you may have felt as though you were walking along the edge of a precipice, carrying a burden that was invisible to others but crushing to your spirit. You looked at the shadows and saw threats. You looked at the days and saw only a waiting room for the next battle. Your soul trembled even when your body was safe, because the war you were fighting was never against flesh and blood, but against the states of consciousness that sought to keep you small. You questioned the silence. You wondered if the divine spark within you had been extinguished, leaving you a stranger in your own life, waiting for a signal that the siege was over. But today, right now, in this moment of quiet interaction, something has shifted. This is not a random algorithm bringing us together. This is a kairos moment, a decisive intersection where the inner world of your imagination pierces the outer shell of your reality. Listen closely to the decree rising from the depth of your own I am. Congratulations, the waiting is over. What afflicted you has ended forever. This is not a platitude. It is a confirmation that you have moved from one state of consciousness into another. The era of suffering, of the dark night of the soul, has completed its work. You are no longer the victim of the storm. You are the master who speaks to the winds. However, to truly walk into this new season of peace and stability, you must understand how to operate this new vehicle of consciousness. You have been driving a vehicle of survival for so long that you may not know how to drive the vehicle of abundance. If you are ready to stabilize this shift, I invite you to explore the 3 keys to a prosperous life. This is not just information, it is a practical map designed specifically for those who are awakening to their true power. It guides you to heal the invisible blocks that have held you back and teaches you how to expand with stability, learning to receive, sustain, and multiply your good without the guilt that often plagues the chosen. Whether you prefer to read the ebook or listen to the audiobook, this trilogy is the companion you need to navigate this new territory. You can find the link to these keys in the pinned comment or description below. But for now, let us return to this great transition happening within you. The reason you had to wait, the reason the door did not open sooner, is a truth that might shock you, yet it will liberate you. Your pain was not a punishment from an angry deity. It was the pressure required to forge a diamond. You were not being rejected. You were being protected from a premature success that would have destroyed a character not yet tempered by fire. You were not a victim of circumstances. You were a threat to the old system of thinking. The isolation you felt protected you from corruption. The financial struggle taught you to trust in the source, your own wonderful human imagination, rather than the resource. You have passed the test that breaks the majority. The diploma is in your hand. But here is the danger of this specific moment, the phantom pain. Even though the enemy, which is simply the old state of consciousness, has been defeated, your nervous system may still be addicted to the fight. You might find yourself feeling guilty when you relax, or suspicious when things go well. This is the echo of the trauma. It is the ghost of the past trying to haunt the house of the future. You must perform immediate spiritual surgery on yourself. You must silence the internal alarm. When you feel that anxiety rising, you must speak to your inner being and say, "Peace, be still." Visualize a chaotic bell ringing in an empty room, and with your attention, reach out and silence it. Give your body permission to leave the battlefield. If you are ready to lay down your armor and accept peace, click the like button on this video. Let that simple physical action be a signal to your subconscious mind that you are agreeing to the ceasefire. Now we must address the clothes you are wearing. For too long, you have worn the identity of the survivor. You wore your resilience like a badge of honor. But God, your own glorious I Am, did not call you to survive forever. He called you to govern. You cannot be a ruler while wearing the rags of a victim. You must mentally take off the heavy, smoke-smelled cloak of the one who barely made it through and put on the royal robe of the one who was chosen for this. You are royalty. The struggle was the chrysalis, not the butterfly. This change of garments requires you to confront the vows you made in the dark. In your pain, perhaps after a betrayal or a deep disappointment, you whispered to yourself, "I will never trust again," or "I will do it all alone." You thought these vows were shields, but they became cages. They blocked the helpers, the friends, and the opportunities that were seeking you. You must renounce the vow of isolation. You must forgive yourself for trying to play the role of a lonely god. Feel those chains snapping. When you open your heart, you allow the universe to rush in and assist you. Consider this. What if the very people who betrayed you were actually unwitting servants of your destiny? What if their rejection was the only way to push you out of a comfort zone that was too small for your soul? When you realize this, the bitterness fades and the restoration begins. The prophet Joel spoke of restoring the years the locusts have eaten. In the world of Caesar, time lost is gone forever. But in the world of imagination, time is fluid. Your awareness can condense decades of growth into a single season of harvest. The financial struggles, which felt like a curse, were merely the cracking of the vessel so it could be expanded. You had a cracked bucket consciousness, leaking energy through fear. Now you have been remade into a vast storehouse. Do not look for money to come only from toil. Look for it to come from your acceptance of your birthright. The wealth follows the state of consciousness, just as the shadow follows the object. And as for the people, the empty chairs at your table are not a sign of loss, but of victory. Those who left could not breathe the air at the altitude you were climbing to. Their departure created the vacuum that will now be filled by your destiny helpers. These are connections that will feel instant, genuine, and joyous. They are not coming to fix you, but to co-create with you. But you must heed the warning of Lot's wife. Do not look back. Do not try to resurrect dead relationships. The bridges were burned, so you would not retreat. There is a desire in the human heart for vindication. You want those who doubted you to see you now. But listen closely. Your vindication is not a battle you fight. It is a table prepared for you. The psalmist says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." Notice, you do not fight the enemies, you eat while they watch. Your success, your undeniable stability and joy is the only argument required. The best revenge is a life so beautifully lived that the old critics become irrelevant footnotes in your biography. As you step into this double portion, double the joy, double the resources, double the peace, you must abide by the laws of this new land. First, the law of silence. Do not scatter your power by telling your plans to those who do not share your vision. Keep your dreams in the womb of your imagination until they are born. Second, the law of discernment. You will see clearly now. You will recognize the wolf in sheep's clothing not by their words, but by the feeling they evoke in your gut. Trust that signal. And finally, the law of stewardship. Remember that this glory is not to feed the ego, but to express the divine nature of the Creator within you. If this message is resonating with your spirit, consider subscribing to the channel. We are building a community of those who understand that the cause of all things is within, and your presence here strengthens that collective assumption. The surgery is complete. The vows of poverty and isolation are broken. The seal of the chosen one is not a target on your back, but a crown on your head. You are sealed in this new state. The phantom pain will fade as you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The "it is finished" of the cross is your mantra. It means the state is established. You do not need to beg for it. You need to occupy it. Walk out of this moment with your head high. The universe has been waiting for you to accept this promotion. The struggle was the training ground. This, right now, is the reign. The era of suffering has ended. The time of the singer has come. You are free to be great. It is finished. And because it is finished, You must now enter the great silence of confidence. Do not mistake this silence for inactivity, for in the world of consciousness, silence is the highest form of action. It is the stillness of the seed that has been planted in the dark, rich soil of your imagination. If you were to dig up that seed every hour to see if it had rooted, you would kill it. In the same way, if you constantly check your bank account or look for a text message or scan the faces of others for approval to verify if your prayer has been answered, you are digging up the seed. You are saying, "I do not believe it is done." You must learn to walk in the conviction that the reality is already established in the only place that matters, your own wonderful human imagination. The outer world is merely a delayed reflection, a heavy mirror that takes time to turn, but it must turn if you do not look away. This period of waiting for the visible manifestation is what the mystics called the Sabbath. It is not a day of the week. It is a state of mind. It is the mental rest that comes from the absolute assurance that the work is finished. You go about your daily affairs, you wash the dishes, you do your work, you speak with your friends, but inwardly you are smiling at the secret you carry. You are pregnant with the new state. A pregnant woman does not wonder if she is pregnant, she knows. She simply waits for the appointed hour, preparing a room for the child. You must prepare the room for your manifestation by living in the mood of having it now. This delicate balance between the inner reality and the outer delay is where many of you stumble, for the old man, the old identity you have shed, does not want to die quietly. He will scream for attention through your senses. To navigate this transition with grace, to learn how to stabilize yourself when the storms of doubt rise, and to understand exactly how to receive without guilt and multiply without fear, I have organized a specific path for you. It is found in the 3 Keys to a Prosperous Life. This is not just a collection of words, it is a trilogy, a practical map designed for those who feel the calling, but struggle to sustain the frequency of their desire. It is available as an e-book for those who learn by reading and an audiobook for those who absorb by listening. If you are ready to stop cycling between hope and disappointment and want to master the art of remaining in the state of the wish fulfilled, check the pinned comment or the description below to begin this study. Now, let us return to this concept of the old man screaming for attention. You must understand that your senses are not your enemies, but they are creatures of habit. They are accustomed to the old diet of fear, lack, and struggle. When you starve them of these negative emotions by refusing to react to the 3D world, they will rebel. This is what the ancients called spiritual warfare. But I tell you, the war is not in the heavens, it is in your mind. The dragon described in Revelation is not a beast in the sky. It is the accumulation of your past beliefs, your sensory evidence, and your fears standing before the woman, your imagination, ready to devour the child the moment it is born. The child is your new concept of yourself. The dragon is the voice that says, "Who do you think you are? Look at your past. Look at your debt. Look at your loneliness." How do you defeat this dragon? You do not fight it with swords of steel. You defeat it with the sword of Michael. In the symbolism of the scriptures, the archangel Michael represents the quality of consciousness that asks, "Who is like God?" It is the faculty of your mind that rejects the tyranny of the senses and asserts the supremacy of the I am. When the bill comes and the numbers scream lack, you summon Michael. You do not ignore the bill in a foolish way, you simply deny its final authority over your destiny. You look at the fact, but you do not accept the verdict. You retreat into your imagination and you see the bill stamped paid. You feel the relief of the resolution. That inner act is the sword that slays the dragon of fear. You see, you have been given dominion over the earth, and the earth is your own mind. But you have allowed squatters to take up residence in your consciousness, squatters of unworthiness, squatters of victimhood. They have lived there so long they claim to own the house, but you are the landlord. You are the operant power. You can evict them, not by force, but by withdrawing your attention from them. Attention is the currency of the universe. Whatever you pay attention to, you buy. You have been buying misery, buying limitation, buying drama. Stop spending your wealth on things you do not wish to own. Consider the bridge of incidents. This is a concept that terrifies the uninitiated, but brings peace to the awakened. When you move into the state of the wish fulfilled, when you assume you are wealthy or healthy or loved, the law of assumption begins to rearrange the furniture of your life to match that new state. But listen closely. This rearrangement may not look like a blessing at first. You might lose your job. You might be forced to move. A relationship might end abruptly. The unawakened man panics. He cries out, "I imagined the best. Why is this happening?" He does not see that the job he lost was the very thing blocking the wealth he imagined. The relationship that ended was the anchor holding him back from the love he desired. This is why you must not judge by appearances. The bridge of incidents is a series of events that leads you from where you were to where you are in consciousness. You do not build the bridge, you walk across it. The bridge is built by a wisdom far greater than your conscious reasoning. Your only job is to remain focused on the end. If you know the destination is sure, the rocky path does not frighten you. You know that every stumble, every turn, is leading you straight to the fulfillment of your assumption. Do not curse the bridge. Walk it with faith. Let us speak of the messenger. In the scriptures, the angel Gabriel is the one who brings the good news. Psychologically, Gabriel is that sudden desire, that intuitive hunch, that idea that flashes in your mind. It is the annunciation. It says to you, "Behold, you shall conceive a thing." Most people kill the messenger. They say, "That's impossible. I'm too old, I'm too poor, I'm not educated enough." They argue with Gabriel. Do not argue with your desire. Your desire is the word of God speaking to you. It is the promise of what you are capable of becoming. If you have the desire, you hold the capacity to fulfill it. God does not mock his children by giving them the urge to fly without the wings to do so. The wings are your imagination. When you accept the message, when you say, "Be it unto me according to thy word," you become the Mary state, you conceive. And then you must protect the embryo. You do not expose your new dream to the criticism of the world. You do not cast your pearls before swine. Swine, in this psychological sense, are those who do not have the capacity to understand the spiritual cause of things. They will tear your dream apart with their logic and their statistics. Keep your secret. Let the child grow in the womb of silence until it is strong enough to be born. Until the manifestation is so undeniable that no one can question it. There is a practical discipline you must adopt tonight, a tool to keep your bucket from leaking. It is the art of revision. At the end of the day, before you drift into sleep, review the events of the day. Do not judge them, simply observe them. If there was a conversation that went wrong, a letter that brought bad news, a moment of pain, rewrite it. In your imagination, replay the scene. But this time, make it conform to your ideal. Hear the voice of the friend giving you good news instead of bad. See the check in the mail instead of the bill. Feel the joy of success instead of the sting of failure. Some will say this is lying to oneself. I tell you, this is the only truth there is. The facts of the day are fading. They are dead the moment they happen. But the imaginal act you perform in revision is alive. It enters the subconscious and begins to change the timeline of your tomorrow. By revising the past, you change the future. You are releasing the energy trapped in that negative memory and transmuting it into power. You are keeping your energy field clean. A chosen one cannot afford to go to sleep with a heavy heart, for sleep is the door to the subconscious, and you must enter that door as a victor, not a victim. As you persist in this, you will notice a shift in your inner conversations. We are always talking to ourselves. From the moment we wake to the moment we sleep, a constant monologue runs in the background. I'm tired. I hope this works. What if they don't like me? Prices are going up. This inner speech is the creative force of your life. It is the glue that holds your current reality together. If you want to change your world, you must change your inner speech. Match your inner speech to your fulfilled desire. If you were the person you want to be, what would you be saying to yourself? You wouldn't be saying, "I hope I can pay rent." You would be saying, "Isn't it wonderful? I have so much abundance. I am so grateful." You must begin to whisper these things to yourself, even when your senses deny it, especially when your senses deny it. This is the new song the Bible speaks of. Sing a new song to the Lord. The Lord is your I am. Sing to yourself the song of accomplishment. You will find that as you change your inner speech, the people around you will change. They are only echoes. They will begin to treat you differently, often without knowing why. They are responding to the change in your atmosphere. You are no longer broadcasting the signal of a victim. You are broadcasting the signal of a king, a queen, a creator. And the world must bow to that signal. It has no choice. It is the law. Do not be discouraged if the old world rattles its chains before it disappears. This is often the way. The night is darkest just before the dawn. When the pressure seems highest, it is often because the breakthrough is pushing against the surface. Hold the line, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. That means stand in your conviction and watch your imagination save you from the circumstances. Remember the story of Daniel in the lion's den. He did not fight the lions. He turned his back on them and looked towards the light. He focused his attention on God, his own I amness, and the lions' mouths were shut. Your lions, your problems, your debts, your enemies have no power to bite you unless you give them teeth with your own fear. Starve them of your attention, and they will lie down like lambs. You are entering a phase of mastery. The training wheels are off. You know now that you are not a cork bobbing on the ocean of fate. You are the ocean. You are the tide. You are the depth and the surface. The power that created the universe is the same power that beats your heart and fuels your imagination. There is no separation. I and my Father are one. But the Father is greater than I, meaning the pure potential of your imagination is always greater than your current conception of yourself. There is always more to expand into. So, walk with your head high, not in arrogance, but in the quiet dignity of one who knows their lineage. You are of the royal bloodline of the Creator. Your inheritance is not just wealth or health. It is the power to create. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, use it to lift not only yourself, but everyone you encounter. For as you rise, the world rises with you. You are the leaven in the loaf. If this knowledge is sparking a fire in you, if you feel the truth of it in your bones, engage with this teaching. Like the video to signal to the algorithm and to your own subconscious that you choose this truth over the noise of the world. Share it with a friend who needs to be reminded of their power. We are gathering the scattered sparks of the divine into a great flame. Let the feeling of the wish fulfilled be your dwelling place. Do not just visit it, live there, make it your home. And from that home, watch as the world rearranges itself to knock on your door, bearing gifts you did not ask for, but which you commanded by the very nature of your being. The silence is yours. The power is yours. The kingdom is yours. Now go into the silence and possess it. And when you emerge from that silence, do not leave the feeling behind. Carry it with you like a fragrance. You see, the silence is not an escape from reality. It is the furnace where reality is forged. When you open your eyes and return to the noise of the three-dimensional world, you must remain faithful to what you saw and felt in the silence. This is the great challenge, and this is the great secret. Most men light a lamp in the darkness of meditation, only to blow it out the moment they encounter a rude person or an unpaid bill. You must not do this. You must shelter that little flame until it becomes a roaring fire that consumes the old circumstances. To navigate this transition from the perfect clarity of the silence to the often chaotic nature of daily life, you require a map. You need a structure, that helps you understand the stages of your own awakening so you do not fall back into the sleep of the senses when the storms come. For those of you who are ready to stop guessing and start building a foundation that cannot be shaken, I recommend you explore The 3 Keys to a Prosperous Life. This is not just another book. It is a trilogy designed specifically for the chosen ones, for you who feel the call but struggle to stabilize the energy. It is a practical guide to awakening to who you really are, healing the invisible blocks that sabotage your harvest, and learning how to receive, sustain, and multiply your good without guilt. Whether you prefer to read the ebook or listen to the audiobook, this trilogy offers the stability you need to walk this path. You will find the link in the pinned comment and description below. It is there for those ready to move from knowing the law to living it. Now, as you walk this path, you must understand the nature of the battle you are fighting. You often hear of spiritual warfare, and indeed, there is a war. But it is not a war against demons in the atmosphere or people who wish you harm. The war is in heaven, and heaven is your own mind. The Bible speaks of Michael and his angels fighting the dragon. Do not look for Michael in the clouds. Michael is the symbol of your focused attention. The name Michael asks, who is like God? And since God is your imagination, Michael is that faculty in you that defends the dignity of your imagination. And what is the dragon? The dragon is the vast, accumulated evidence of your senses that screams, "It is impossible." The dragon is the memory of your past failures. The dragon is the logical mind telling you that you do not have the education, the money, or the connections to be who you want to be. When you sit to meditate, when you try to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the dragon attacks. It brings up fear. It brings up doubt. It points to the bank balance and says, look at this fact. Your task, as the awakened operative power, is to be Michael. You do not fight the dragon by arguing with facts. You defeat the dragon by turning your back on it and fixing your attention solely on the desired end. You slay the dragon by starving it of your attention. Every time you withdraw your attention from the problem and place it on the solution, you have struck a blow with the sword of the Spirit. The dragon feeds on your reaction. If you do not react, if you remain indifferent to the bad news because you know the invisible truth, the dragon shrivels and dies. This is the discipline of the chosen. Consider the armor of God you are told to wear. This is not metal to protect a physical body. It is a psychological posture. The helmet of salvation is your disciplined thinking that protects your mind from negative suggestions. Salvation is not a future event. It is a present psychological act. To be saved is to be lifted from a state of lack to a state of having. When you assume you are what you want to be, you are wearing the helmet. You are saving yourself from the limitation. The shield of faith is your refusal to accept the arrows of the sensory world. When a bill comes that you cannot pay, or a diagnosis that frightens you, the shield of faith is that inner conviction that says, I remember what I did in the silence. That is the truth, and this external fact is a lie that is passing away. You quench the fiery darts of the wicked being simply the doubts that rob you of your peace. You must become a master of the inner conversation. If you could record what you say to yourself in the privacy of your own mind throughout the day, you would understand exactly why your life looks the way it does. Are you arguing with people in your mind? Are you justifying your failures? Are you rehearsing conversations where you are the victim? This is the misuse of your creative power. You are breathing life into the very things you claim to hate. The awakened man, the one who knows his I amness, monitors his inner speech with the vigilance of a sentry. He knows that every internal conversation is a seed. If he catches himself arguing with his boss in his mind, he stops. He rewrites the script. He hears the boss congratulating him. He hears the friend giving him good news. He does not let a single negative word fall into the fertile soil of his subconscious without revising it instantly. This is what it means to pray without ceasing. Prayer is not begging. Prayer is the habitual motion of your inner focus toward the good. If this resonates with your spirit, if you recognize the power of your own inner speech, take a moment to like this video. It is a small act, but it signals your intent to align with this teaching, helping to spread this light to others who are still fighting shadows. Let us speak of the messenger. In the scriptures, angels are messengers. In your life, these messengers often appear as desires. Do not kill the messenger. When a desire comes to you, a desire for freedom, for expression, for abundance, it is not a temptation to be suppressed. It is the language of God knocking at the door of your consciousness. It is the promise of what you are capable of becoming. The desire contains within itself the power of its own fulfillment. You would not have the urge if you did not have the capacity to realize it. However, you must not force the birth. This is where many of the chosen stumble. They assume the state, they feel the wish fulfilled, but then they look at the